How to use a frame as a start point, combine with the gradient and create super colourful designs in Photoshop. Something like this. It all starts with a frame. This is one way of doing it. Go to the Frame tool, select a rectangular frame and apply. Go to the Layer menu and New Fill Layer and select the Gradient option. And click OK. Select one of the default gradients in the Presets panel. A number of types are available, but I'm going with Linear. Click OK. Go to the Layer menu, Smart Object and Convert to a Smart Object. Resize the object, press Return and then drag that object into the frame. Once it's in the frame, you can still continue to resize, etc. Select the frame, go to the Layer menu, Smart Objects and Convert to Smart Object. Now the frame as well as the gradient fill are now all a Smart Object. Select the Smart Object, hold down the Alt or Option key and drag to duplicate the Smart Object. You can repeat that multiple times. Fill the entire document with that Smart Object. You will now see those gradients throughout the whole image. The Smart Objects can overlap. The Smart Objects can also be resized as well as rotated. With the Smart Object selected, go to the Filter menu and Stylize and Oil Paint. Once you're in the Oil Paint filter, set the cleanliness and stylization to a high value and then click OK. Apply this a couple of times and what happens? You get a lovely smeary gradient effect applied to the Smart Object. You don't have to use just one single filter. What you can do, you can combine it perhaps with Camera Raw filter or, in the case for the next filter, liquify. Go to the Filter menu and liquify. Once you're in the liquify panel, select one of the brushes and then warp the design in many different ways. I've created a number of videos about liquify. There's lots of options, so perhaps check those out. Once you're happy with your distortion, click OK. Select that liquefied Smart Object, hold down the Alt or Option key and drag to duplicate the Smart Object multiple times. Repeat the duplication. Fill the entire document with those liquefied Smart Objects. What you can also do, you can resize them, you can rotate them. As you do that, the Smart Object and the liquify will subtly change the design. You can do it over and over again to create really complex tangled designs. Once you're happy with your design, go to the Layers panel, select all of the Smart Objects and then go to the Layers menu and Smart Object and Convert to Smart Object. Take that liquefied design back to the Filter menu and Stylize and Oil Paint. Apply a couple of times. You should now have quite a smeary, tangled design. You can tweak it in many different ways, such as using blending modes. With the Smart Object selected, hold down the Alt or Option key to duplicate it, then slightly increase the size of the new object. Go to the Layers panel, set the blending mode to lighten for the new object. You can transform the Smart Object, you can rotate, resize, etc. and subtle changes will change radically the design. Go to the Layers panel, select both of those objects, go to Layer menu and Smart Object and Convert to Smart Object. As a Smart Object, you can go to the Image menu, Adjustments and Levels to tweak the image slightly. Smart Objects can be changed at any point. Go to the Layers panel and click on that little small icon for that Smart Object. Just repeat that, keep going down. Every time a new document opens, go back to the Layers panel, click on that little icon and go all the way down to the frame, down to the gradient. Double-click the gradient in the Layers panel. Click the gradient in the Gradient Fill panel. Edit the gradient. You can now add stops, you can move stops, you can delete stops. Once you're happy, click OK. Change the gradient, the type, the settings, and then click OK. Click Close and Save. You can now tweak the frame, resize it, move it around, change the content. Once you're happy, close the document and then click Save. Each time you save the document, It might take a bit of time to process. Really depends how complex, how many smart objects, and the size of the document, and much, much more. Of course, it may have just crashed. You won't know for a little while. Keep closing the documents and saving the work. The update will then happen. This may take a long time depending on how many smart objects you have created and the depth you've created. At this point, I have really no idea what the end result will be. It's an experiment. And the one thing is, you can always go back again and again and again. Keep trying out different gradients as well as different settings, and you can tweak it in numerous ways. The end result may be amazing or dire. Each time you work with these smart objects, you can also look at them and think, well, you know what? I can add some additional things. I can change them. I can also remove things as well. They are interactive and ever-changeable with new filters, new adjustments, etc. If you try and save the document while it's saving it, it will come up with a note. It does that all the time. That is the end result. Well, it isn't really, because you can always go back and change the gradient again, as well as all the other smart objects. Once you're happy with that, you can also go to a layer menu and flatten the image. You can also just save all the entire work to your library for future designs. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. I'm always adding new tutorials about Photoshop as well as other applications, so please subscribe to the Graphic Extras channel. Also, please add some comments. Always appreciated. Also, a dislike or like. Thank you much.